Year 2552, August 9th, the present. The tattered flag drifts across the horizon. Jacob watches it as it descends. He scoffs and says, "Ha! If only." He sits down and tries to recall the past month that he spent on Rohan. 2552, July 3rd.
Jacob, will you hand me that syringe?
Sure. What are you even working on? It's hard to be your assistant if you're not even telling me what we're working on.
Well, it's called a psi-emitter. Emperor Manx wanted it as soon as possible, and told me to keep all information on it on a need-to-know basis.
What the hell is that supposed to mean, and what does it even do?
Well, basically it's trying to turn a simple strand of DNA into a cancer-like cell that makes the brain want to reset all its systems, and systematically destroy all the good cells and replace them using the cell we fabricated this framework. The resulting cells will make a protein that will make them very susceptible to a certain frequency, so basically a psionic mind control device in a radio.
What? We are making a massive bioweapon? Are you insane?
That's crazy, man. We're trying to use it to herd animals on this godforsaken planet. Those hydrolists are an amazing source of clean water when they're not shooting acid spines at you, what that is.
Year 2552, August 9th, the present. Jacob shudders as he continues along the ruins of what was once a sprawling metropolis. If he was going to do this, if he was going to stop Emperor Manx's psi-emitter that he, like an obedient lapdog, helped build, he was going to have to find the world's biggest pain in the derriere for the Emperor, a man by the name of James Ranner, commander of the rebellion group Ranner's Raiders, that had only one goal: to overthrow Manx's corrupt empire. He flipped open his revolver. One bullet remained. One is enough.
Year 2552, July 12th.
Mavinder, please look over this document.
I don't understand. You want me to do what?
It clearly states what to do on this document.
No, but it says you want me to alter the emitter so it affects humans instead of hydrolists. You want me to alter it so it attacks the oxygen-producing hemoglobin, so it becomes the opposite, hemoglobin. You want found in plants to expel the oxygen. So you want me to give the ability to control a human's mind and be able to kill them?
Yes.
Year 2552, August 9th. Jacob walks to a bar. He spots Rainer at the corner booth. He makes his way through the crowd, and as he does, he feels like time is slowing down around him. It's memory after memory of his time in the lab with Mavinder reveal themselves in his mind. Year 2552, July 28th. Jacob Melick, Daily Science Log A113. Mavinder hasn't usually been late, but for the past couple days he's been a bit tardy. Today was even worse. I've already been working on the project Mavinder gave me for about an hour now. So I was trying to see what would happen to a plant if I introduced an aggressive version of hemoglobin with the plant's native hemoglobin. Well, the plants are just spreading like a wildfire. They managed a way to asexually reproduce, and they're quickly spreading across the Rohan landscapes. Because, well, the plants, now that they can reproduce asexually, they produce a massive amount of spores each day. And they don't rely on the wind. They actually have their own propeller thingies, and they just spread out from the plant and get as far as possible as they can. So it's very easy for them to spread. Well, the plant problem shouldn't be too much of a problem because, well, since they asexually reproduce, they're all clones of each other, so all we have to do is introduce the plant's native predator, and that should wipe the plants out really quickly. All of a sudden, Mavinder stormed in, a large helmet in his hands. He ripped the test tube Jacob had been using for his plant experiment and jammed it into the latest version of Contradictor 1. Jacob watched it as it reversed the fluid he used for his experiment with the plants into a hemoglobin-killing solution. After the test tube was done warping from its light blue to an insane-looking neon yellow, he jammed it into the psi-emitter and said,
Changes.
a laugh that would cause any grown man to shudder. He finished and stared right at Jacob. He said with a voice full of panic,
Here, take this. I don't have much time. The Emperor's got to make sure I do this.
He handed Jacob a note and pulled out a small pistol. He smiled at Jacob. What? However, before he could finish, Mavinda hit Jacob over the head with his pistol, jammed the helmet on Jacob's head, flipped a switch on the side emitter, and emptied a bullet in his own mouth. Jacob had dreamt of his wife, his beautiful, perfect wife he could not live without, as he swirled about in a concussed state of limbo. Chaos was going on outside. The millions of people that lived in the Psi emitter's 100-kilometer radius were slowly choking as oxygen fled from their bodies. Back in his tower, Manx was smiling. He had killed 3 birds with 1 stone. He had created a whole lot of clean oxygen for Rohan, stopped its massive population crisis, and his personal favorite, decimating the town where that scumbag Rainer lived. He signaled his technician to stop the emitter. He wanted to congratulate Mavinda for his good work.
I guess the old man couldn't handle progress. Look at this old chap here. He was always up to something. He would have made a good scientist. Too bad he had to die. We'll let the fireballs kill them.
2552 July 22nd. Jacob woke. He panicked as he saw the blood on the floor. Then he remembered what had happened those 2 days ago. He lifted Mavinda's helmet off his own head and carefully examined it. It was nothing special. It looked like something made out of an X-Men movie. It was thick and heavy. It seemed to be made out of lead. He tossed it to the ground. The Psi emitter's casing was empty. The emitter was gone. He looked around the lab for Mavinda. His heart sank as he saw Mavinda's cold, lifeless hands around the pistol. He looked down. He remembered the note that Mavinda gave him before he was knocked out. He took it out of his pocket and examined its contents.
Dear Jacob, if you're reading this, then you probably know I'm dead. Over the past week and a half, I was modifying the Psi emitter. I was given special orders from the Emperor himself. He wanted me to change it to work on humans. He wanted to control us and gain the ability to kill them at will. That experiment I told you to do was really a means of doing so. It would prevent any human from producing hemoglobin and force them to produce proteins for limeglobin, thus sucking away oxygen. I protested to stop this madness and later refused to continue. So they killed my family. I had to finish the emitter. All I needed was a solution from your experiment. I knew he was going to kill everyone, however I could not stop him. I was going to leave that to you. I built you a helmet to block the emitter's frequency, keep it close, and put an end to Meng's madness.
Jacob looked wide-eyed at the letter. He could not believe it. He heard the metallic voice of one of Meng's guards. Quickly, he ducked behind a filing cabinet, but not before retrieving the helmet Mavinda had given him.
I cannot believe we have to check every darn building in this sector.
Tell me about it, man.
As they walked down the stairs, they noticed Mavinda lying face down on the floor of the lab.
Hey man, check it out. It's a scientist who made the emitter.
Ha! You think they want to keep him around?
Whatever, he's dead, just like the rest of the people in this godforsaken city.
For 5 tender minutes, he lay there behind the filing cabinet, his mind reeling. After he was sure the guards were gone, he sprinted away from the bowels of the lab. Jacob grabbed an abandoned motorcycle. He revved the engine and tore across the road to the house he shared with his wife and children. His heart sank as he saw his wife clutching her neck. His daughter was sleeping in her crib. He surveyed the room. Pure white rage building up inside him. He pulled his gun out and ran outside. At 2552 August 9th, the present, Jacob walks to James Rayner's table. James Rayner? The most wanted man in the galaxy. You're not that hard to find.
Jacob Miller, I thought all the Emperor lab rats you did.
Hey, well, I beat the odds.
Well then, what can I do for you?
You see, we share a common interest. A good friend of mine killed my wife when he set off that emitter.
I see. Well, I could help you, but can you help me?
Well, did I ever tell you how the Hydralists came to be?
No, I didn't have the pleasure.
Well, you see, the Hydralists weren't always the 6-foot-tall death machines that they are today. They were really caterpillars a long time ago. However, as a source of water, they were only capable of
making 1 liter of water every year, which was not enough to feed a growing population. So, we decided to make them larger by genetically altering them. It was simple at first. We just killed the smaller ones and gradually caterpillars became larger. Within a few years they had grown to be a foot long. Though they grew exponentially longer, our massive population could not be sustained. So we inserted a hormone that would make the cells duplicate and more faster than before. They became huge, able to make 1,000 liters of water a year. Also, they became able to kill someone with acid spines.
So, how does this help me?
Who says we can't do it again? Who says we cannot use them against the Emperor's defenses?
I like the way you think, but won't that take a long time?
No, the new solution works in a few hours, but it's extremely painful. The piercing sound of massive explosions rocked the bar. The roof was torn off by the shockwave, and a wooden support bar smashed Jacob square in the forehead. As Jacob's vision was restored, and he shook the fuzz to the corners of his eyes, he remembered the firebombs. Manx had promised them, and they had arrived, but Jacob had survived. Now he knew that he could destroy Manx because he was better than Manx, and Manx could not kill him. Through his still obscure vision, he saw Rainer's hand reaching out for him. He took it gratefully. As they drove to the lab where the solution for the hydrolysis was located, Jacob looked awestruck at the now ruined city. The whole place was in pieces. At the lab, they dodged past a couple guards and grabbed the solution and 5 hypodermic needles and a small dart gun. They found 5 hydrolysts scrounging in one of the Emperor's personal water banks. Rainer grabbed the dart gun and hit them all square in the jugular. They contorted and fell to the ground.
Okay, got him. Now,
How about we run? 1 hour later.
holy, Jacob, what is that?
I would like to call it an ultralisk.
Wow, nice creativity.
5 of the largest creatures Jacob had ever seen were ripping through the Emperor's defenses. At one point, one of them pulled a random helicopter out of the air and smashed it like it was a piece of gum. Rainer and Jacob snuck around the edges of the palace. Though I was looking over at the carnage that was taking place behind them in case one of those ultralists noticed them and decided to squash them. They snuck through the sewage into the palace where the Emperor lived.
Hey, Jacob, what happens when the Ultras are finished with all the guards?
Then we are royally screwed. Let's finish this. The 2 men stalked down the corridor. A shot rang out off the top of Jacob's helmet and left a sizable dent in the heavy metal. 2 guards suddenly appeared at the top of the stairwell to the Emperor's personal quarters, equipped with big machine guns. Rainer took 2 shots that landed just above the chest cavity, killing them both. They stepped into the Emperor's quarters. There he was, just sitting there on a large couch, just reading. It was almost as if he did not care that there were 5 creatures the size of a small home banging on his doorstep. Rainer stepped forward.
Emperor Arcturus Manx, your reign of tyranny ends today.
Then Manx spoke.
I'm afraid you're gravely mistaken. It is your reign that will end today.
2 steel doors closed shut, trapping them in a small room. A screeching noise erupted from the sides of the small room. Jacob did not realize what was happening until Rainer started to clutch his neck. Manx had turned the emitter on. Jacob was powerless. In a matter of seconds, all the hemoglobin in Rainer's body would die. For a few seconds, he simply stood there, beside Rainer's lifeless body. He almost felt bad he didn't have another helmet to protect Rainer. Then, through the metal, he heard Manx's voice.
I would like to see my handiwork.
A tone of laughter shone through his voice. As the door opened, Manx's smile dropped from his face. I always knew your cockiness would be your undoing. Jacob leveled the revolver to Manx's head.